Hello everyone, our story for today was posted on Reddit in r/nosleep by the user TacosandArmadillos about a carnival in 1986 where his family went missing. This video will be part 1 of 2 parts. Do you think this actually happened? Leave a comment below, let's begin. Between 1965 and 1987, a total of 12 people went missing from Mr. Fulcrum's funhouse. The pattern which emerged from these disappearances is that no one was alone when they were taken. Either families or couples would enter any one of those tall, brightly colored tents and never walk back out, even though at times these tents were occupied by hundreds of potential witnesses. These cases baffled detectives. How could an entire family seated in the stands be there one moment, laughing and enjoying popcorn, and gone the next? At first, the disappearances didn't do much to deter the steady flow of attendees who wished to see legendary attractions like The Visitor or Madame Levitt's group seances. They thought it was all part of the show, an immersive event brought to you by Mr. Fulcrum's brilliant mind. It wouldn't be the first time, after all, that he had done such a thing. On one occasion, through a complex assembly of visual and auditory trickery, he made the goats at the petting zoo stand up on their hind legs and talk. I will not repeat here what they said. Another time, an employee dressed as a giant worm with the face of an old man used a series of underground tunnels to scare guests by randomly springing up from the earth in front of them, or by grabbing their ankles and tripping them. However, it was not just the creativity of Mr. Fulcrum's tricks or the sights which made people flock in droves. You could go there, smack dab in the middle of nowhere, and taste foods from faraway lands like Romania or Azerbaijan. You could watch Siberian tigers fight Alaskan grizzlies or, if violence wasn't your thing, wander through the world's largest hortus conclusus. If you were lucky, you even had the chance to meet the Green Man. All of this popularity and wealth should have made Mr. Fulcrum one of the most famous people in the world. Yet very little was, or still is, known about him. Those who saw him in person, both foreign and domestic, claimed they were not able to tell where he was from based off his appearance, though he had a notable mid-Atlantic accent. He seemed polite and a bit on the quiet side, though it didn't really matter because whenever he spoke, people listened. Curiously, even back then there were rumors of a darker side to Mr. Fulcrum. Dogs would either growl or run away when they saw him. Rooms felt colder when he entered. Children would cry and clutch their parents when he walked past. But that hardly steered people away from the carnival. It was just too good. They said there would only ever be one Mr. Fulcrum's funhouse, always and forever. It was an empire in its own right, unshakable and beyond us all. We were supposedly lucky to have gotten to experience it. I cannot stress enough how high it was held in the public eye. Yet the illusion could not last forever. No mind, not even Mr. Fulcrum's, is immune from error. In June of 1986, a family disappeared during the main event of the evening, Mr. Fulcrum's magic show. As had happened in the past, it went unnoticed for the rest of the night, and likely would have gone unnoticed for much longer. Everyone was too engrossed by the sword swallowers and fire singers. But the next morning, a sobbing boy walked into the local police station and reported the disappearance of his family. That boy was me. 39 years ago, my adopted family fell through a gap that suddenly opened in the stands. I watched as they were taken by circus staff dressed as clowns. Being only 7 years old at the time, I thought it was all part of the act, and waited excitedly for them to appear on stage next to Mr. Fulcrum himself. But as the show went on and they didn't show up, I began to grow more and more worried. Then, as part of the final trick of the night, Madame Levitt took the stage next to Mr. Fulcrum, who tipped his hat to her and stepped to the side. She was a gorgeous woman. Thick and glossy black curls tumbled down her bare shoulders as she slowly walked forward, hands stretched to her sides to the cheer of hundreds. Dozens of rings tipped with multiple kinds of precious gemstones shimmered in the firelight conjured by the fire singers, and her fingers twitched and bent in all manner of shapes as she lifted her face to the ceiling and spoke in a voice that didn't sound like it belonged to her body. Then, before us all, she levitated. The audience oohed and ahhed, the wave of sound drowning out my tears and hysterics as I frantically searched the stage for my family. Madame Levitt spun on an invisible string as she continued to chant, her green dress spinning and spinning and spinning until she was like a tabletop, a blur of sound and color. There was a loud pop accompanied by a burst of energy that splashed over the laughing audience, and then she was gone, along with Mr. Fulcrum. I never saw my family again, and the police never found any trace of what happened to them either. Yet for once, they had a genuine witness to one of the disappearances at Mr. Fulcrum's funhouse. My story made it over to the press, and once the public saw me crying and begging for the return of my parents on television, there was an uproar for transparency from Mr. Fulcrum and company. They never gave it, and that possibly might have been the end of things. Then another couple went missing the next year, and that's when the government finally got involved. Both federal agents and local law enforcement arrived on scene, and there were arrests made. Apparently quite a few of the staff had warrants out for their arrest, and were wanted for very severe crimes. Both federal agents and local law enforcement arrived on scene, and there were arrests made. Apparently quite a few of the staff had warrants out for their arrest, and were wanted for very severe crimes. When other places within the carnival were raided, officers found them curiously empty of the attractions they once held, and there was no sign of Mr. Fulcrum or Madame Levitt. None of the staff told the police where they had gone, and it was not clear whether that was due to ignorance or fear. Upon finding the tunnels, agents were surprised to learn they stretched for miles and formed a network that was so convoluted it took months to map it all out, and there are some who think there were other paths that went unnoticed. Here, I want to make special note that one agent reported finding a tunnel that went down so far that a rock he dropped never made a sound. From what I heard, he was put behind a desk for the remainder of his career for making that statement to the press. Years passed and nothing more really came out about Mr. Fulcrum. Nothing public. But there were whispers and rumors that I began to personally track down after I decided to not re-enlist. I guess here I should mention a bit about what ended up happening to me after I lost my family. I was placed back into foster care, and as soon as I was 18, I joined the Marines. It was an easy decision. I was willing to do anything that would get me off the streets and into a job that would teach me how to never rely on anyone again. I wanted to become so strong and capable that I could protect myself and those I love. And throughout that entire grueling process, I never forgot the hate I feel towards myself for failing to protect the most important people in my life. Honestly, there are times where I wonder if I made the wrong choice. I had a great career with the Marines, and my travels to different parts of the world took away years of my life and burned through a lot of the cash I saved. I never married or had children, that I know of, and I suspect this path will be the end of me. But I just can't let them go. My parents were the best people I have ever known. They took in a boy that no one else wanted and showered me with love. And then they were taken from me, and I was thrown back into the hell that is the American foster care system. I need to know why they and all those other people were taken. I need to know what their fates were. Most of all, I need revenge. I have wandered through the dark places of the world for over 10 years, all to find a lead on the one person who can tell me where Mr. Fulcrum is. Madame Levitt has a small studio apartment where she does palm readings, fortune-telling, and the odd seance here and there. I have heard she's gone straight, and isn't into the evil shit anymore. She's also very hard to get an appointment with. But do some work as security for some pretty big names in the entertainment industry, and you'll find you can secure a meeting. Tonight is the night where Madame Levitt will tell me where Fulcrum went. I am leaving this as a record in case I don't make it back. But if I do, you will be hearing from me. I'd ask for luck, but that would be to rely on someone outside myself, and that I simply will not do. This story will be continued in another video labeled Part 2. Thanks for watching.